into turn one for the first time this weekend for these drivers. And they're wide open already up the racetrack. Matt DiBenedetto in the 21, that yellow 21, trying out the PJ1 early. Brad Keselowski taking advantage of a great start. He jumps up to second.
And that move by Matt DiBenedetto in that 21 does gain him a couple spots. We'll see if he gets in line. Pretty organized at the front. 3 cars in a row and then a couple rows of 2 wide.
Now, one of them's Joey Logano. He's running a little bit higher now in that 22.
Last week's winner, the most relaxed playoff driver in Texas. This is, I mean, he wants to win. I won't say it's just for fun, but regardless of the finish, he knows he has a chance at the championship in a couple weeks.
See this front group of cars, as soon as they had an opportunity, they're always at the bottom of the racetrack, not trusting that outside lane just yet. Some drivers further back are kind of forced to be in it on that outside line.
Steve, you mentioned it, 183 miles an hour when they enter turn one there that last time for Kevin Harvick.
And DiBenedetto still climbing through the field, picking up a few spots here. Underneath the 18 of Kyle Busch. Kyle finding that speed and grip up that high line, up the racetrack though. Has to get out of the gas. He's going to give up the spot to the 21 and it's brother Kurt Busch on the inside now.
Looks like he got really tight. He got up there, it was in the throttle, and the car wouldn't turn.
A little more gingerly through the turn here as he's up in that traction compound, the PJ1, and he has fallen back. And now William Byron in the 24 making the move. Ty Dillon's going back in the 13 as the 19 of Martin Truex Jr. is going forward. Remember, starting in the back after a 20-point penalty, failing pre-race inspection with the spoiler issue. And Steve, that's a don't touch this part once it has been handed to you by the manufacturer.
Yeah, NASCAR has really put that rule.
Oh, we got a car wrecking in turn 2.
Right up in front of the 19, up against the wall, and the caution comes out. It looks like that's the 17. Yeah, sure enough, 17 was around, and so already Chris Buescher has a little bit of damage to that car.
He made a little light contact with the back of the car, swung around, made contact with the right front.
And the right rear. So
I got it pretty good.
Oh boy, yes, I agree. Got it pretty good. A lot of damage on that car. You know, years past, you could say, all right, maybe you can hammer the sheet metal out, cut it away, put a new deck lid on it. But with the crash clock in the recent years, that car is not going to be repairable. It'll be the end of the day.
Let's take a look, see how this all got started here. This is after he's already lost control of the car. Can't see how it started. Like you said, Steve, that contact's going to be enough to end his day prematurely.
Couldn't tell if he had contact with anybody, but remember that end of the racetrack has much less grip than 3 and 4. Way less banking in 1 and 2. Car jumps around on you so much quicker over there.
back up to speed. 2 tires versus no new tires on the 88. Way up the racetrack goes the 11. Denny Hamlin almost loses it.
Right behind him, the 10 car, Veric Almirola, also way up the racetrack. Both cars losing many spots down the back straightaway.
Harvick surging ahead. Here comes the 22 of Joey Logano on the inside of Bowman.
Look for the Brad Keselowski back there in the middle of 3 wide.
Denny was running 4th when he went up the racetrack, lost a lot of positions. Now, a big run by Alex Bowman, and Harvick's into the wall. Harvick tags the outside wall.
Hold your line, hold your line, hold your line, hold your line, might have a...
Harvick trying to keep it at speed. 2 favorites all season, Denny Hamlin, Kevin Harvick, both having issues in the same part of the racetrack.
He's going to have to pit right here.
Huge contact for the Ford Jet. The right side flat, the Goodyear lettering missing off both right side tires.
Right side flat.
Look out the rear. There's the 11 who had his issues as well.
11's going to go to the inside of it.
Oh, the 2 favorites have had just awful turn of events here in a couple of laps. The 11 lost track position. That's recoverable. The damage to this 4, I don't know. Sure, guys. Kevin Harvick's trying to ride it out here, but you see the damage on the right side.
4. flat-sided. I can't see smoke out here, but you know best.
You can imagine Kevin's frustration. He said, I got killed for what? I imagine he's referring to this early in the going. You know how drivers are during the playoffs, and that one will cost Kevin Harvick here. He'll have to come to pit road, Parker.
Guys, I have to think this might be a little bit of the condensation you're seeing on that onboard camera. It got very intense just as we went to that restart. We see Kevin Harvick now going on pit road. I have to think that it made the grip level very low.
Right side tires pulling it out.
Oh, we got another car on the wall off turn 4. Clint Boyer. Oh, no, not Clint Boyer. Cole Custer.
Yep, that was
off
off
turn
2. And it's Cole Custer in the 41. It seems as though 1 and 2 slick.
I thought Cole was way up the racetrack, almost in the fence.
Yeah, he had the same issue as Kevin Harvick did. It went through there and just all of a sudden just lost it. I agree with Parker. I think this mist is picking up. Watch Kevin Harvick. He drives into the corner and everything looks good, and then right here he loses it. See how much room Bowman's gaining on him? It just never was able to gain back up, and the car never turned. You just have to wonder if the racetrack isn't a little bit damp right there. I don't know. Other cars didn't have a problem. Just not a mistake you see Kevin Harvick make.
Look at everyone fan out going by him.
He's trying to run the top.
Riding along with it.
Better him on the bottom, but he is getting run clear up. He'll probably come inside here. Here he comes. He got a hell of a run. Easy now.
See how much he was out of the gas?
Easy. Hold your line. 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 Might have a flat, guys.
Here's the issue with Denny Hamlin. Jumps trying to get to the outside of the 88, maybe just a little bit too high. Way up there in that traction compound where no one has been, either wet or dirty, up that high in the racetrack. And it's all about spun out there.
Look at all the moisture on his camera.
One lane. One lane.
Cole Custer.
Inside.
Same corner. Look at that. Back of the car, rolls around on it. He just chases it and chases it. That's the end of the racetrack. You're going to see problems. It's much flatter. We talked about it. Dave, what do you have on Harvick?
And I can tell you it is misting constantly down here now, but the track and the tires, hopefully the heat is keeping most of it out for the racers. Kevin did radio in. I've got smoke coming into the cockpit, so I think I have a tire rubbing. He did say the steering wheel was straight, so once we get the body right, he should be okay there.
And I like that decision by Kevin Harvick, as disappointing as it is to come to pit road. 334-lap race, Rick. A flat tire and more contact into the wall could end your day. The 4 still seems like it's reasonably in one piece. Obviously not as good as it could be, but just continue to work on it, continue to gain the points. You see 8 points above, but 8 points above running in the 38th position. A lot of points available if they can continue to improve.
See, Kevin Harvick has 9 wins. We almost guaranteed him in the championship for an accident early in this race. He's only 8 points above the cut line right now. A possibility that Kevin Harvick doesn't go to the championship for.
Well, and that disappointment for Kevin Harvick instantly adds excitement to the 88, the 9, the 4, the 2, the 11, the other drivers, even the 19 at minus 38, perhaps can see a way in if someone like Harvick continues to have problems.
It's been a crazy 72-hour red flag situations. Beautiful sight right here. Clint Boyer, Jimmy Johnson up front, and green flags back out in Texas.
Scattered start, didn't it, guys? Back there at 10th, about the 7th, 8th row, nobody's pulled up.
I don't think anybody wants to be up there. I think that's just patience, Jeff. You talked about the risk. Look how tight that second lane is, Jeff. Purposely staying out of that dark area. Big wiggle by Jimmy Johnson up top.
Close to the wall there for the 48 of Jimmy Johnson as he exited 2.
You don't want to be 3 wide. We just talked about that. Afraid to be in that traction compound. Jimmy Johnson wisely found a way to get single file.
That car right behind him, a little hard to recognize for me, but that's the number 9, black and dark pink Hooters car for Chase Elliott. That's his teammate. I think kind of lifted a little bit, let Jimmy Johnson get his car corrected, get back single file.
Up front, Boyer, Eric Jones, Martin Truex Jr., Joey Logano, Jimmy Johnson, Chase Elliott, Ryan Blaney, Brad Keselowski, Kyle Busch, William Byron, all inside the top 10.
You can see that 2 car, how low he is, right? Think about the difference between that and what we saw on Sunday when this race started. Brad would have been up in that black part of the racetrack. He don't want to go there. He's afraid to go there, so he's really pinching that 18 car off.
And you see William Byron. He says, I like the bottom. I'm going to turn left in that 24. Oh, Brad comes right down, blocks the 24, has him get out of the gas. For that reason, the 8 turns to the inside of him. We've seen that lead to accidents here when someone has to check up.
Yeah, that took all the air off of that 24 car of William Byron. It had to get completely out of the gas. William now in that second lane, making it work.
Up the track.
And the 42 slides, tags the 43. Bubba Wallace back into traffic, and the outside wall caution comes out.
Heavy damage to the 43. You saw it live. Started with a little stack up. The 42 got loose in front of the 11 as they stack up off the corner.
Heavy damage to the 42 as well. This ground is
check
so
up.
wet.
11 got to back him up, turn him down into us. No,
Look at that damage right there. We talked about it. We saw an Xfinity car go through the grass all the way back on Saturday. No real issue because the grass was dry, saturated, and look at the damage from Matt Kenseth.
Yeah, that car went on to win the race, Steve, but this car here is done. It just so wet. The grass just, the splitter just dug in and just ripped the front of the car off of it.
Yeah, that car is destroyed. The 43 also destroyed. We saw the window net go down for Bubba Wallace. He's already out walking back to his pit.
Now, you talking about disappointment.
Oh, man.
You've been sitting, waiting to race for 3 days. And to get knocked out of the race this early, how disappointing that would be and frustrating.
So
Opposite end of the spectrum, though, the 4 of Kevin Harvick back on the lead lap.
Yeah, so we knew that that was going to be his goal. You see Bubba Wallace right there. You know he's frustrated. DoorDash on the 43 car, new partner this year. I'm sure the garage area probably fans of DoorDash over the last 3 days here. So unfortunate that car is going to be retired. The 42 of of Matt Kenseth as well. Yeah, you see the frustration.
Well, you mentioned it. I mean, 72 hours.
Yeah.
They've been waiting to get back out there and race, and this happens, 2-3 laps into it.
Well, we'll take a look at it right here. Jeff, I think Bubba Wallace was nowhere to go. Wrong place, wrong time. Let's take a look at the accident.
Yeah, well, let's start it. Matt Kenseth, just car gets wiggles, then runs up in front of Denny Hamlin. Denny Hamlin really nowhere to go, gets into the back of the 42. Look at the 42 just get destroyed when he went in that grass. So we talked about he just got a little bit loose and just somebody, he didn't have anywhere to go. Right here, loose, right up in front of Denny Hamlin, now out of control. Bubba Wallace, nowhere to go. Now only thing he can do is lock it down and hope. He did get into Eric Almirola there.
He did. I didn't see that the first time through. And Jeff, I know this sounds silly, but I want to ride on board with Denny Hamlin in the 11. Talk about flashing in front of you right here. We're going to see the wiggle. I want to see how hard he hit. I tell you, Jeff, that's not a slight bit of contact. I think the 11 is fine as far as mechanical issues, but as fast as this racetrack is, you can easily separate the nose, have a hole in the nose. It will affect downforce. We have to keep an eye on the 11. That's shot by the 42 in the wet grass. Huge, huge wreck.
Let's ride along with Bubba Wallace. DoorDash camera.
Down. Son of a bitch.
No, I mean, nothing he could do, right? I mean, Jeff, that's just,
there's nothing. Sometimes you're just in the wrong place.
Oh, the 22 is right on the rear bumper of the 19. You're going to see the 19 surge ahead.
Clint Boyer stays right on his door as they work through 1 and 2.
I think this end of the racetrack they're coming to now, I think Martin feels much better about the outside lane down here. Yeah, got those right sides on that traction compound. It's stuck that time. He's got a little forward momentum down the front straightaway. This is the end of the racetrack where he wants to get right on that door of the 14 car. Pull the air off that spoiler.
Martin Truex Jr. actually.
Yep, there was. See the little wiggle from the 14 car. But Martin way up the racetrack. Go again, trying to get it right on that door. Martin Truex Jr. just trying so hard. Pull the air off the back of that 14 car. Now where's Eric Jones going to go? He's going to decide to push Clint Boyer. That really pushes Clint out in front of Martin right here. Big advantage right there for Clint. You can see what happened right there with the air 3 wide behind him. How that air just pushed Clint Boyer out in front of Martin.
The 19 and 20 with Joe Gibbs Racing, and we saw Eric give that 14 a shove to get him up front. Marty.
And guys, Truex really wants to make that work in 1 and 2. You saw him on the outside of Boyer, as you were describing, Jeff. But he said in 1 and 2, he's just too loose, and you can kind of see that a couple of times. And then also in 3 and 4, a little bit loose. But 1 and 2 is where it's worse.
Yeah, Marty, I think that's going to be the case all day. I think 1 and 2 is just going to be where all of your handling issues are.
8 to go in the stage, and when Clint Boyer took the lead on Sunday, guys, yes, Sunday, through some pit strategy, he has not given it up. He has now led 49, coming to 50 laps here. So, Steve, I think that certainly sends a signal to all the crew chiefs on pit boxes. They got to make a decision here in 7 laps. You're going to opt for track position, I'm willing to bet, as a crew chief, Steve, because you've seen what Boyer can do, and Truex, who's come from the back, has not been able to pass Boyer. So that clearly sends a sign that track position is going to be the key moving forward.
Well, we knew track position was going to be important before we ever got here this weekend, before the rains ever came. I think the rain has actually taken away a little bit of the value, the cold weather of that darker second lane. That's what made the 14 even more successful holding this position. And let's not forget, we've talked a lot of storylines. Clint Boyer has announced he's going to join our friends over there at Fox in the broadcast booth starting next year at the Daytona 500, so he only has a limited number of races as well. He wants to go to victory lane. I know he wanted to do it last week at Kansas, but I know Clint pretty well, and I don't think he really cares at this point. A win is a win. But my big concern for Clint is even if he was able to pull off a Wednesday win, I'm not sure he'd make a Sunday Martinsville. That'd be a short amount of time for the Clint Boyer celebration.
He's been leading this race for 73 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, how about back in the field a little bit? How about John Hunter Nemechek? Sitting there running 11th, running in front of Kyle Busch, Tyler Reddick, Cole Custer, Kevin Harvick, Keselowski, big names in the sport. John Hunter Nemechek has had a strong rookie season. A lot of times not the results they wanted, but John Hunter Nemechek has put this 38 car much further up in the field than most people thought it could go.
And how difficult has it been on this rookie class because no practice this year?
So difficult with no practice and overperforming. So we haven't talked a lot about the rookie battle because of Custer's win and advancement into the playoffs. He kind of sealed up the rookie of the year the way the point system worked. But until that win, it was like a toe-to-toe heavyweight battle of the brand new drivers. We saw, and I'll be honest, I knew Reddick was going to be in there. I think we all knew Bell was going to be in there. We all knew Custer was going to be in there. John Hunter's the one I think surprised us all. I personally didn't give him his due early in the year, and he continued to show up. He's doing it once again. But a great crop of rookies this year for sure, Rick, as we see Boyer move to the inside of lap traffic.
Yeah, lap traffic's going to make it play a role today. So look what Martin Truex Jr. did that lap. He changed his entry, made a big arc into turn 1, got in real slow. Tons of momentum on Clint. Clint Smith, a big block. Truex losing the 3.
What a block.
Yeah, trying to win stage 1, and Clint Boyer saw the move by Martin Truex Jr., went down, stopped it, and now just 2 laps to go in stage 1.
And now the concern for Truex is he went from offense to defense. Now with 2 laps to go, 3, 4, 5 points, and positions are lined up behind him. I know he's thinking a must win as Jimmy Johnson slides up out of the groove, but he really needs to finish second, get as many points as he can.
Truex entered 3 so low. And when he did, he almost wrecked that race car.
One lap to go in stage 1. And again, points paid at the end of stage 1 and stage 2.
Well, Clint Boyer has a little bit of gap in this final lap, and this is why. Here's the block on board with Martin Truex Jr. He gets a run. He keeps moving left. Boyer keeps, look at the solid white line. That's the bottom of the backstretch. He enters so straight. And a lap car on the outside, Jeff, that could have been catastrophic for the 19. I know he lost time, but a great job not making it worse.
He was hanging on. Clint Boyer going to make it happen here, though.
Wins his 4th stage of 2020 and first at Texas. Clint Boyer gets the green and white checkered flag. Green comes back out. Martin Truex Jr. on the outside. Ryan Blaney on the inside of row 1.
I learned an important lesson one day, Rick. Don't say whoa. Jeff Gordon said, you know, whoa sounds like go, and we were all wrecked in the second lane.
We'll see if Martin Truex Jr. can make this outside lane work. This is the third time he started on the outside. Hasn't been able to get the lead from there yet.
How about the three of Austin Dillon back there in the second row? Made the playoffs. I would say overperformed and impressed in the first round. Was unable to continue through, but has done a nice job. Got a win this season. We're on board the roof for the Coca-Cola cam right here.
Yeah, his win came right here at Texas Motor Speedway.
He didn't mind waiting to Wednesday then, probably.
Not a surprise to see Austin Dillon up here inside the top 4 right now.
Imagine that, Clint Boyer and Martin Truex together again.
You don't think Truex is going to be wide, do you?
They're tired of seeing each other, I think.
Isn't that how it is, though, Jeff? The same people. You race with the same people, it seems like, every lap.
Marty.
Hey, Rick, you guys talking about Austin Dillon up there in the 4th position, and who won here in July? Remember we were at the RCR Command Center, and they have all that technology kind of helping the crew chiefs out. Well, that Command Center helped Austin Dillon win the race and helped them make the right calls. Well, the Command Center said fuel only on this last stop, and here they are up in the 4th position. So Dillon showing, hey, we've got speed as well as the right strategy. Right now having a nice run.
Good year for RCR. Good speed. We've seen Tyler Reddick. I haven't heard as much about Tyler Reddick lately. He hasn't had the speed, but this 3-car brought a lot of speed to the playoffs. Much more than we saw during the regular season. See Austin Dillon making some sort of an adjustment, maybe a NACA adjustment, changing what that NACA does between turns 3 and 4 and 1 and 2, because 1 and 2 drive so different than 3 and 4. This time, both hands on the wheel. There he goes. There he goes.
No, he's going to adjust it. So I think what he's going to do is open the NACA duct, add some downforce to the race car right here, some side force for the handling end. You've told me that turn 1 and 2 is the most important end. That NACA duct is just an opening of the right side window where the air comes in. You're allowed to run a valve that opens and closes it, but it has to be manual. It can't be electronic. So you want to talk about old school adjustments? Here you go. Driving 2 hands like you're driving down the interstate. Every straightaway, he reaches over like he's adjusting the radio, but he's going to reach over, find that duct without looking for it, opens it for this end, turns down to turn 1, a little more downforce. So think about this, 100, let's watch the speed. We're going to leave this corner at 163 miles an hour because he got tight, and he still has to remember to do that every lap.
Kyle Busch driving underneath him. He tried to make a gain on Clint Boyer in the middle of 3 and 1 and 2, and it just didn't work. Still taking the fight. The 18 car clears him.
Now able to stay out, and now making that adjustment. And look at this, the 4's coming into play as well. Kevin Harvick right back here in the hunt.
Kevin's car just isn't like he wants it to be right now. Just can't make it stick. Kyle Busch giving him a lot of room right there. A lot of respect being given by Kyle Busch to Kevin Harvick in that situation.
You have to ask yourself, even as disappointed as Kyle Busch is, he made the championship 4 so many times. He knows what's on the line. And it's just his opportunity to kind of give that respect back, right? Marty, I'm going to give space because I've been given space when I had this chance.
Oh, Kyle knows exactly what this situation is like, and yes, he's going to give respect to everyone in the field, even though he certainly wants to win. You know what's funny, as you guys were watching the onboard camera with Austin Dillon kind of adjusting those NACA ducts, was watching Justin Alexander watch all that go down on TV. He was kind of laughing with his guys on top of the pit box. Sometimes, Steve, you don't want all the secrets given away inside the car, do you? And Justin was watching all that go down on national TV, his driver adjusting the car every corner, every lap.
So we see Truex right here. He's going down into turn 1. The 18 of Kyle Busch has left his pit stall. He's exiting the pit lane over there on the back stretch. We're going to see what kind of momentum we have right here. I think the 18 is going to keep the lead. But Jeff, you and I, it was interesting to see these two kind of pass each other on the front stretch.
Yeah, we called the 18 past the 19. All of a sudden, didn't know why. We went back a few laps before that and went and watched. And Martin Truex Jr., as he's under battle right here, Martin Truex Jr. clearly a big lead on Kyle Busch all the way through 3 and 4. Everything looks fine right here. And watch on the front straightaway. I don't know if Martin runs out of fuel or what happens right here, but gets really slow on the straight, and Kyle Busch goes by him. The only thing I can figure is they ran out of fuel right there, Steve.
Yeah, we heard the report that Chase Elliott had to flip the switch, means he went to the reserve, so maybe that's what happened. Parker.
And the final playoff car to get on pit road is Denny Hamlin, struggling with the speed in that 11 car. Also, the vibration got so bad they had to do 4 tires for Denny Hamlin.
Like I said, I like the 4-tire call here. I know it seems like you give it up a lot of time, but I think it's going to help them in the future.
You had mentioned that with Martin Truex Jr. He's looking for a win. Coming in here after the penalty, was starting out 51 points behind that cut line, looking for a win. And look at those tires, Marty.
Yeah, that is the right rear from Chase Elliott. So on the first stop, it was fuel only, and there you see why they had to come back in. Chase just apologized to Alan Gustafson, said, sorry, I did not feel it coming apart before we came to pit road, but man, when I left pit road, I felt it coming apart. Steve, that is not a good-looking right rear for Chase Elliott.
No, and that is just a real knock for the 9 car to have to make 2 trips all the way back at 27th, a lap down, 21 points below the cut line. Just a lot of time given up.
And as a driver, there's nothing you can do. He didn't feel anything. Everything was fine, right? And as soon as he pulls on the racetrack, all of a sudden there it is. I know he feels bad about it, but I don't know what he could have done differently.
No, I mean, he has no idea. It's good until it's not good. I know it sounds silly, but they look good until they're not good. So they're just going to have to find a way to try to recover.
Eric Jones just went across the start-finish line, and 4 laps remaining in stage 2.
It's going to be a big stretch for the fuel tank of Eric Jones. Last on pit road, lap 135. I didn't think there was any way someone could stretch the fuel that much, but.
And you think about it, if Martin Truex Jr. ran out of gas, same organization.
Yep.
And he's coming to pit road now.
And that will hand the lead to the 18 of Kyle Busch.
So Eric Jones on pit road. Kyle Busch now out front with Martin Truex Jr. running second. Alex Bowman is third. Marty.
Coming with 3 to go, Eric Jones, and they had a bad vibration in the middle of the stage and slowed down so much. I think Chris Gale kind of thought, hey, maybe the playbook's open. You slowed down so much that we can make it to the end of the stage, but obviously cannot make that happen. Left side tires only and fuel to make sure they get to the end of the stage.
So Jeff, that pass on the front stretch that you mentioned when Truex slowed dramatically, whether it was fuel or something else, we aren't completely sure. Well, actually, we're getting a report right here. That is what happened to the 19. Just like you said, Jeff, he was passed for the lead because the car sputtered. It was out of gas. He flipped a switch. The 18 drove by him. Listen. You hear right there, the engine starts sputtering and missing. He flips the switch so he can get to pit road. But that time is the only thing that allowed the 18 to get by him, and that time will cost Martin Truex Jr. the stage win.
Final lap. Kyle Busch out front by 1.2 seconds over Martin Truex Jr. Then it's Bowman, Keselowski, Blaney, Bell, Austin Dillon, Clint Boyer, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kevin Harvick running in the 10th position. Remember, getting into the wall on Sunday, coming out of turn number 2. Damage to that right side, and Harvick has rebounded and now running in the top 10. Only the 3rd stage win of 2020. It's been a disappointing season for Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch on the inside, Clint Boyer on the outside as they get ready for the restart and underway with the final stage. Big push from Matt DiBenedetto in the 21 on that 14. Is it enough as Kyle Busch on the inside still holding on to the lead?
The second lane has started to become the preferred lane in 3 and 4. Let's see if Clint can make it work. Good forward momentum off of turn 4. Who's Matty Deagle help push?
They stay door to door. Matt DiBenedetto stays behind that 14. A little bit higher into turn 1 for Clint Boyer. Momentum now has him going by on the outside.
Clint had confidence in that traction compound. Kyle Busch side drafting, slowing the 14 down. Now Boyer going to try to get to that right rear quarter panel. Can't do it. Matty Deagle trying to take advantage, drive underneath both of them.
Here comes DiBenedetto.
Look at the storylines. Kyle Busch looking for his first win of the season. Clint Boyer trying to look for his final win of his career. Matt DiBenedetto going for his first career win. A lot to talk about in the top three.
Now that Denny Hamlin in that 11 car, sitting there racing Joey Logano. He was struggling big time, now sitting there racing for fourth.
Alex Bowman, who's led laps in this race, 43 of them, right there in the picture as well. Martin Truex Jr. A must-win situation for the 19 up here.
Martin driving to the bottom of the racetrack, trying to make ground in 1 and 2. Nice move that he just made on the 88 car. Cleared him, got back into that line. Now let's see. He's looking right now to see if there's a gap between that 11 and the 22. Is there a place for him to go when he gets to turn 3 and turn 1? Is there a gap? Is there somewhere to fill? Looks like there will be. Tried it deep in the corner. Drives underneath Joey Logano. That's incredible speed from Martin Truex Jr.
As he blocks, pulls the 22 back, the 11 gets a huge run behind him and has nowhere to go with it. So he's just got to follow the 22 in the corner. Yeah, that side draft, Jeff, is really big if you get to somebody's door.
Yeah, he's got to put a big side draft on Logano right here because Hamlin's going to push him in front of Truex. If Truex could clear the 22 through here, oh, is he there?
Can't do it.
No, he's clear. He's clear.
Easy, fucking there you go.
Game of inches. If he hadn't cleared Joey Logano, they were all stacked up behind him.
Well, the 19 cleared the 22. The 11 lost the nose, got up the racetrack. Now he's under attack from the 88. So Denny Hamlin had the track position, but doesn't have the car to keep it. Oh, now he gets back in front of the 88. Good move by the 11. And now we have the race for the lead is just bumper to bumper up here.
I think these three are hungry.
Oh, I know.
Very hungry. Kyle Busch, Clint Boyer, Matt DiBenedetto, 1, 2, 3.
67 laps to go. Kyle Busch trying to stretch the fuel so he can match everybody else's fuel sequence. Adam Stevens told him when you have to flip the switch, you've got one more lap. Right when he passed pit road last time, he flipped the switch. So Kyle Busch was able to stretch it to 67 laps to go. He should be able to make it to the end here. It's going to be tight, but they can now run with everybody else. So Adam Stevens really coaching up Kyle that entire run, telling him to save fuel, telling him not to pass cars and do everything he could, even drafting off other cars to save all the fuel he could. It's going to be 4 Goodyear tires, and they are going to pack the 18 fuel with Sunoco fuel. Should be able to make it to the end. 66 to go, and everybody else will have to pit as well.
That's a big, bold should there, Marty. He just ran 68 laps, but 5 of those were under caution. 63 green, 68 under, or 68 total, 5 were those were under caution. Now he has to run 66 laps. Man, I have him like right on the number, maybe a half a lap short. The question is, if he knows that earlier in the run, can he save fuel longer? Man, these last 65 are going to be a fuel management mode for Kyle Busch in the 18 car.
When will everybody else come, Steve? Now that he's come to pit road, will that bring other cars now?
No, because tires still don't have any value. There's no reason to pit. Make sure you're surely in your window. I'd get to 60, maybe 59 to go and then pit. The one advantage of waiting is once you pit, then the 18 has a bogey. He knows where you are on the racetrack. So if you're the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., you're trying to run the best laps you can right now to just close that 6-second gap, Parker.
Logano, when the first cars react to getting on pit road after 18. Kyle Busch is going to be 4 Goodyear tires and filling it full of Sunoco fuel, just a little bit tight. That 22 car, just see the adjustment left rear.
So guys, the fastest race car on the racetrack, not by a little bit, but by a lot, is this 95 car of Christopher Bell. He is absolutely flying. He has gotten by Brad Keselowski, he's gotten by Blaney, and he has gapped them by a huge amount. He is absolutely flying. Run Martin Truex down about 3/10 a lap when they both have clean air. This 95 car, we have a new player in the game. The key for them, though, is pit stops. That has been their weak point all year long. They're going to have to get on and off pit road under green with a good pit stop if they're going to have a chance to win this race.
And what a race win it would be for Bob Levine and Levine Family Racing. Marty, the 4
Just not been the Texas race that everyone expected from Kevin Harvick. Obviously speed early on, the contact back on Sunday. You see Denny Hamlin coming down pit road as well. Harvick struggling with the fronts chattering, and you see that tire get away. That'll be a penalty, Parker.
Denny Hamlin has just been edgy, has been the word for the 11 car. Just not able to get into the corners like they want. You saw the damage they repaired early in the race and the adjustment in the left rear.
Tire getting away from the 4 of Kevin Harvick, at least their crew. It went down the wall. It wasn't out on pit road, but
we'll have to see what NASCAR says. It's clearly defined. If it rolls back to the outside half of the pit box, it's a penalty. Anything other than that's a little less clearly defined. It's whether you stay in reasonable control, if you affect other pit stops. So we'll have to see how NASCAR rules that. Let's take another look. So it hits the other tire, kind of luckily takes a left. So fortunately, there's not a car in front of him. In my opinion, that's not a penalty. NASCAR may disagree. It didn't affect another pit stop, and it wasn't a safety issue. Outside, that's the advantage of the #1 pit stall. So we'll have to see what NASCAR says. Parker.
Brad Keselowski in here. You see that tape on the front. It was 4 tires, a little bit of adjustment to fix a tight condition as he fell back there at the end of the run.
And you see Martin Truex Jr. coming down pit road as crew chief James Small ejected from the track back on Sunday. He's back in Huntersville, North Carolina at Joe Gibbs Racing headquarters, and they know after losing 20 points in the penalty, they're in a must-win scenario. So Blake Harris and James Small making the call here. 4 Goodyear tires, all the Sunoco fuel. They can get in the car. 59 laps to go for Truex, who currently has led a lot today and in a position to get that must-win they need if they want to advance to the championship 4.
So we're hearing nothing, no penalty on the 4. Here's Kyle Busch right here, already serviced. You're going to see the 19 right there. Goes by. Kyle Busch will reassume the lead when the pit cycles. Not everyone has pitted yet. The reason that matters is Kyle Busch now has from there to not only find him 3 or 4 laps worth of fuel, not only don't make a mistake, but stay ahead of the 19. Parker.
4 tires for Alex Bowman, who has struggled in traffic. When they've been out front, they've had a very fast car, just not able to replicate that in traffic.
Well, this will be huge for Kyle Busch. No mistakes and saving fuel, Marty.
Non-playoff driver Ryan Blaney having an outstanding run. They've been kind of flirting with the top 5 for much of that run. Blaney saying they struggled when they were on 2 tires. So Todd Gordon making the call here for fresh Goodyear tires. You see the fuel man shaking his head yes, meaning the fuel was full. Ryan Blaney heading back out on the racetrack.
It's just so fascinating, all these green flag pit stops. Everybody's pitting now, 56 to go. We'll see Blaney blend off from pit road. They can definitely make it on fuel. The real question mark is we know Bowyer cannot. He ran out of gas really early. Now we see the 9 of Chase Elliott, who tried to stay as long as he could, Marty, to find that lap.
Yes, Steve, you've had these runs before where you sit in the free pass position forever. Chase Elliott, that entire run was in the free pass spot. If a caution would have come out, they didn't get it. 4 tires and fuel. They're still trying to recover on the 9 Parker from that time they had to pit twice earlier on.
And what an awesome run for Christopher Bell, this Relive family racing team, to pit from the lead. He was turning very fast lap times and using a rear changer for the 96 of Grant Brothers Racing there. Rob Trano, that on the back you saw there, had to fill in for their rear changer. Excellent run for this team.
All right, Jeff, you talked about how fast the 95 was. Well, he was in 3rd. Can he leapfrog the 19 of Martin Truex Jr.? Here you go, Truex Jr. on the front stretch. The 95 will be on the blend lane. He had great speed under green. Was the pit stop good enough? It looks like the 19. There you go. He's going to remain in 2nd. Will the pace of the 95 continue? I say 2nd, so Bowyer is in 2nd. But we know he can't make it on fuel. Now, if the caution comes out, great for him. Maybe he can save. I don't think anybody else is pitting. I think Kyle Busch will save. So at this point, in my mind, it's can Kyle Busch make these final 54 laps on a tank of fuel and hold off the 19 of Truex and the 95 of Bell? Because Bowyer, if I'm Adam Stevens, I'm saying, Bowyer, don't worry about Bowyer. He's short on gas, and we know it.
Save a tiny bit. Now he's hearing that once again. Marty.
Yeah, Adam Stevens continuing to say that. They're kind of telling him to go Jeff, and then simultaneously they're saying, hey, if you can save us a little bit, that would help as well. Adam Stevens told him 2 laps ago, no matter what, 10 to go, we're going to hit our switch and just get what we can get out of it. I'm not sure they're convinced Kyle can make it to the end. I'm not sure anyone knows if Kyle Busch can make it to the end. I tell you what, his teammate Martin Truex Jr. is hoping he can't, because that would really change the playoff picture for Truex if he walks away with Texas with a win.
Jeff, as I run through the Rolodex in my brain, I'm struggling to remember a fuel mileage win for Kyle Busch. He is normally just dominant, just fast, just pits, puts 4 tires on, and outruns you, right? He's Jimmy Johnson-esque. That's what Jimmy did through the 2000s, is he just beat you with the faster race car. Well, when you got into the 10s, you know, Kyle Busch just said, hey, bring your best, I'll bring my best, and I'll see you at the start-finish line, and that's how he won races. Now we're seeing a veteran, a 2-time champ in a disappointing season, finding or maybe proving he has a skill set we haven't needed to see. We're going to see how good he can be at fuel management and pace at the same time.
It's so much information that he needs, right? And Marty's talked about it multiple times, how Adam Stevens has just been feeding him that information for the last really over 100 laps, what he needs to do to get the fuel mileage to put himself in position to win this race. And they're sitting right there.
7 laps. It's 7 laps difference from the time that Kyle Busch was on pit road and Martin Truex Jr. was on pit road. So does that mean that Kyle Busch really had to save about 7 laps in that first part of the run so that he could get to this point where he could race Martin Truex Jr.?
He ran 67 laps with 5 yellows. If you use a simple correction, like a 2.5 correction, that means he ran, call it 64.5 green flag, 65 green flag laps earlier. When he pitted at lap 268, he needs to go 66. So he ran 60.
Keep saving, we're right at it.
He ran 64.5 earlier by my math with all the stuff that nobody cares about. Now he needs to run 66. That's a lap and a half he has to find on this run, Jeff.
Well, he's getting ready to have to lap Kevin Harvick. And Kevin Harvick, it will be interesting to see what kind of fight Kevin can put up. But you know that Kevin Harvick is not accustomed to being lapped. See if Kevin Harvick slows Kyle Busch up at all.
My question is, not to sound ugly, but if you're Kevin Harvick, if I am Rodney Childers, I'm saying, do not hold up that 18. Do not let the 19 win this race. Wave them by. I don't care what you do. We are the 18's best friends right now. Get out of the way.
Yeah, you don't want Martin Truex Jr. to win this race. That puts a lot of pressure, way more pressure on the 4 car going to Martinsville.
And to Phoenix.
So we'll see how difficult it will be for the 18 to get by the 4.
He'll try to co-walk you.
Yeah, I think Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick are perfectly happy where they're at, because Kyle wants to draft off the 4 as much as he can, because Adam Stevens said, we are right on our number. I still need a little bit more, 12 to go.
Some here behind the 4, 1.3, not gaining.
There's so much that goes
Don't flip
into
it
winning
yet,
a
we're going to wait
race.
till 5. Save me some fuel here, 1.15.
That's the interval back. That's the interval that he's given back to Martin Truex Jr. He's telling Kyle Busch how many seconds Martin Truex Jr. is behind him. That's all that matters right now.
You're in a 25 last time, 1.1.
Under 9 laps to go. Does he have enough fuel?
I think I like what Kyle Busch is doing right here. It's time to go. I towed as long as I could, but I feel like the 19's getting closer, because there he is in my mirror.
Marty.
You remember they told him to flip that switch at 10 to go, Steve? Adam Stevens, as he was coming to 10 to go, said, don't flip it, don't flip it. Wait till 5 to go. I think we're okay. And then you heard Kyle say, I don't want to ride behind the 4 much longer. The 19's getting too close. So he went by the 4. Simultaneously, I think the 4 moved out of the way and said, I'm not helping you anymore, because that's helping might help the 19.
Remember how the 19 lost the lead earlier? They ran out of gas and he flipped the switch. That's why they're talking about this. You know, you worry about that switch because if it hits it, you know you're 1 lap away from running out of gas. You come to pit road. The 18 car doesn't care about third. They don't care about fifth. They're going to win the race. Flip the switch, and if this thing runs out of gas, so be it. But we're not going to lose this race by a simple stumble in the engine.
And that pickup, it's just in a different location, but it's where all the fuel will end up.
Yeah, it's just a box in a corner that has perhaps 1 lap more fuel inside of the fuel cell.
Truex got held up a little bit that lap, about 0.3 of a second. So that allows Kyle Busch even a little more opportunity to save some fuel.
I'm nervous. I mean, this is
Get all the
6
dough you
laps.
can.
people ask me all the time, what do you miss about racing? This. You see Adam Stevens? He is completely absorbed in this right here. Data, left and right. Giving him the information.
Clear high, use it, pull on to 66. 4 now, 12 back. 5 to go here, 5. 7 here will be second then.
Every time on the front stretch, I expect to hear something out of
Use
Adam
the 7,
Stevens.
use them. All the way down the back here, use the pull on them. And then it'll be second by 12.
That's your spotter information. Off turn 4, I expect to hear something out of Adam Stevens. Some more information.
That's Tony Hirschman, his spotter.
I don't know if you want to switch then. Gap's getting bigger, not smaller. 1.3. Lift it 2 and save a little.
There you go. Gap's getting bigger. You're faster than the 19. 1.3 seconds, 4 to go.
Kyle Busch, when we talked to him toward the end of the regular season, he said, yeah, making the playoffs, it's big, but not nearly as big as the win streak I have going. I have a win streak that I have invested 16 years of my career in.
You're in a 16. Save when you can.
I want to win. That's what I want to do more than anything. I want to be able to say I've won every year of my career. Now the gap, 1.2 seconds back. To get into the championship for the 19. Martin Truex Jr. has to win, has to get by his teammate. 2 laps to go at Texas.
1.0, save it when you can.
Gap still asking for fuel savings. 2 laps to go. Under 3 miles now for the 18 of Kyle Busch.
It's all about fuel mileage, Steve. It's just all about fuel mileage. Manage your fuel. He cannot get there. He cannot get to you if you don't run out of fuel.
Remember Saturday in the Xfinity Series, it was a last lap pass for the win.
Use what you can. Then 13 to be
1
second.
lap to go. One more time around. Can Kyle Busch finally get off his winless streak? The last win Kyle Busch had was when he won the championship at the end of the year.
6. So good, 6.
Did he save enough fuel through 3 and 4 for the final time down to the bottom of the racetrack? He has done it. He saved enough fuel. Kyle Busch wins at Texas.
We'll give you a second. There it is. Kyle, I want to ask you about that last run, trying to balance fuel saving with Martin Truex Jr. coming at you. How did you do that?
I don't know. Just kept getting great leadership and mentoring from Adam and from Tony. And those guys just keep talking to me, keep reminding me about saving and being able to do what I could, trying to stay in the draft as much as I could on the straightaways. And, you know, it ran out coming right in here to do a burnout. So I had enough to get a little bit of a burnout. I don't know if I'll make it back. But I can't say enough about Adam Stevens and everybody at Joe Gibbs Racing. I appreciate all your hard work. Everybody at Toyota TRD. This Skittle zombie machine looks bad to the bone. It's really, really awesome. And I had to do a zombie remake here. This is what we've all looked like around here for the last 3 days, right?
Yeah.
Everybody just zombied into their phone. So I wasn't planning on that, but it kind of worked with this weekend, but more so in the times. This is going for auction. People can buy their tickets to win raffle, $18 a piece at bundleofjoyfund.org, or go to kylebusch.com.
Let me ask you, you've won 15 a race for the last 15 seasons. You said it was a 16-year investment. If you didn't get one this year, you finally got it.
Yeah, we got it. And I was so nervous I was nervous a little bit like the whole last run, but I've been in this position so many times. It's like, the last 3 laps though, that's like winning a championship. That's how nervous it was. And I can't believe it, but so proud to just be here. My team guys, awesome pit stops. They're phenomenal. Appreciate M&M's, Interstate Batteries, Rowdy Energy Drink, and you know, we're ready to fight next year. We'll be back.
This copyrighted telecast may not be reproduced, retransmitted, or used in any form without the authorized written consent of NASCAR Broadcasting. NASCAR would like to thank all of our fans for your support, and we hope you enjoyed today's broadcast.